then it's Israel, then it's Lebanon, the struggling democracies in that part of the world, then it's on around the globe as you see it playing out. It's not linear necessarily, but some of these things are all going on at the same time, including what we saw this afternoon on television was a foil plot at the JFK International Airport. Did many of you see what happened this afternoon? It's very instructive for many reasons. It's obviously one of our success stories that we're proud of, shows what our law enforcement's doing out there and can do. But these people had a plan to blow up the jet fuel supply lines that went all through the airport and even into part of Queens and New York. Their idea was that it would be greater than September 11th. They pulled it off. It's a plan that had been going on for a couple of years now. Not from your usual suspects. They say, on the information so far, that this was kind of a homegrown kind of a deal. They say that these people are not from Afghanistan or the Middle East, they're from the Caribbean. Unusual means, unusual people, unusual directions that they're coming from and so forth, which only goes to tell us that these are the low guys on the totem pole. Maybe that's why they were unsuccessful in what they did. There are all kinds of threats out there in America. There are still cells. I served for a while on the Intelligence Committee in the United States Senate. It's not classified. It's true now as it was true then. There are cells here in the United States where nobody's violated any laws yet. But they are here. They're American citizens, many of them, as these people were. I think all the ones that were apprehended, the three, came here and became American citizens. And the threat is with regard to states, with regard to Al-Qaeda, with regard to homegrown operators, and you never can tell when they're interrelating. You can never really trace it back and decide who did what and who planned what together. All you know is that they're out there, and all you know is that the United States must remain strong. Whatever else, we must remain strong. We must rebuild and transform our military to meet the challenges that we face, that we've never faced before. We must rebuild our intelligence capabilities, especially our human intelligence capabilities. Law enforcement was able to do this, in this case the FBI, apparently by insinuating somebody into their operation and putting an undercover person to work. But we lost a lot of that capability after the Cold War. We do what democracies do. Democracies don't like war. Democracies don't plan for war. Democracies get out of the starting gates kind of slowly because we're not thinking about that. We want to enjoy the fruits of our liberty. So we let our guard down. We let our capabilities wither. And we already see the price that we're paying. And then we got to rally our allies. We've got to convince our friends around the world, and believe it or not, we still have many friends around the world, but we've got to convince them. We've got to convince them who yet need convincing that this is a battle between the forces of civilization versus the forces of evil, and we've got to choose sides. And we can't do it spending like 4% of our GNP on the military. Historic low terms, low figures while we're in the situation that we're in and the battles and the challenges that we have as a country. Because sometimes I think politicians don't want to have to tell the American people, you know, that anything is going to be unpleasant at all, that we can have our cake and eat it too at all times. Well, guess what? We can't. And it's time that we leveled and we're straight with the American people about the situation. And I think they have an innate feeling that that's not being done by our congressional leaders in this government. Well, we're not together on some important things. Are we any smarter? We got to be smarter. Are we any smarter than we have been in times past as we look at the challenges to our freedom and to our economy? Well, let me give you a hypothetical. What would you think about a tax system where if you died on December the 31st of 2010, the death tax would be 0?